What's up, everybody? Welcome back into the Play the Fight Song College Football Show. Another big-time week is upon us. Week 4 is here. A lot of conference seasons kick off this week. Got some good matchups to break down tonight. First time watching the show, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Thanks for joining us. This is your college football place to be. Joined alongside my week-to-week co-hosts, JP, Jake, and Reese. Boys, we got a lot to cover tonight. How do we feel about college football in week 3? We'll recap that first before we dive into some week 4 marquee matchups, Jake.
Yeah, week 2 was an all-timer. I don't know. First weekend I got to be able to sit down and actually watch, my 3-screen view for 12 straight hours, and I don't know if I could have picked a better weekend to do it, because in every time slot we had like a missed kick, we had a last-second 55-yarder, we had a go-ahead touchdown with like 10 seconds left, a walk-off touchdown at Notre Dame. Just so many great games all weekend, and we'll save our thoughts as we kind of recap the entire week as a whole, but we're in the thick of it right now, and I think we have another great week in store for us for week 3.
JP, what'd you think? Obviously, a lot of football on. Got to see your team win. Kirk Ferentz becomes the all-time winningest coach in Big Ten history. How was the weekend for you?
It was good. It was good. I'd say I kind of felt like there were some spots where a lot of questions weren't answered. I feel like there's more questions now than there were prior. And you're kind of in a spot where you're looking for anybody that's really standing out as a team, or even an individual player that you're like, wow, that's a September Heisman guy. Like, I don't even feel like we're to that point yet. Like, there's a couple guys you could have the argument about, but there's not one runaway guy or one team that looks way better than everybody else. So that's my biggest takeaway to this point is just the lack of a true team upon or a person on a mountaintop. Everybody's looking at that.
Reese, you had the under in that Tennessee-Georgia game. Great football game. Didn't go the way we like to, but how'd you feel about it? I mean, we really needed some stops early, just didn't get them, but what a football game.
Yeah, confirmed. Like, it was back-to-back touchdowns under 5 minutes is not good for the under. I think I texted that right away. But I think it was interesting just because I saw that, and I heard some experts talk about it too. Like, they thought it was going to be a defensive battle game, and then also like in South Bend, you had the A&M and Notre Dame game. Like, they both got in the 40s. Like, so some teams that we thought were going to be a little more defensive minded, they're more offensive than we thought, or maybe those defenses weren't as good. So like maybe we're seeing some like progressions out of these offense, like a CJ Carr led offense. Like, that's his first year there. They got 40 points on that team. So like I just think we're seeing some progression. Like, early on, these offenses are figuring it out early, which is great to see. I think it's going to add on to things just being a little more interesting as we kind of go on. We're not going to see these boring games. You're going to see a lot of offense. You're going to see a lot of firepower. And I think it's just going to add for some excitement when it comes to week by week.
The award-winning listener, GA, already in the chat, said he bet on North Texas. They absolutely rolled Wazoo. We get to talk about North Texas tonight because they are our group of 5 game of the week this week, as their matchup of Army should be a great one. So we will preview that at the end of the marquee matchups on this show tonight. So possibly another North Texas bet out there for you, GA. But we also need, if you're listening, you know that we've talked to GA a lot on these shows. GA, would you find us a way to get your address? You won the hat. You put a score prediction down.
Hey, put it in the comment below so everyone can see it.
Yeah.
Put it in the comments so everyone can see it.
Put when you go to bed and possibly the last 4 of your social. Just drop it in the comments. No, shoot us an email, at gmail.com. Shoot us a DM on X. I know you're kind of spotty on X, but just find us a way to get your address so we can get you that hat. We also had somebody hit it for Nebraska last week, so we've already sent out 2 free No Rivals hats. So getting our fan perspectives, Iowa State, and Nebraska all streaming for this week. Drop your score predictions for those matchups for a chance to win a free No Rivals cap, and we'll also break down a little bit more No Rivals later. Let's go into the week 3 recaps. Gentlemen, we have some questions to address. These recaps are presented by FrostBuddy, frostbuddy.com/PTFS. Get your universal can cooler decorated in your team for this season to keep your drinks cold all tailgate long. Shout out FrostBuddy. Shop frostbuddy.com/PTFS so they know we sent you. Shout out FrostBuddy. Okay, gents, let's break down week 3. Let's start it off with the same question we asked last week. Most surprising result of the weekend. Could be positive, could be negative. Tell us why. JP, you first.
It's JKS at Cal. I mean, he continues to pick apart good defenses and throw really good footballs. But I mean, it's a little bit, right? Like you didn't see him do it multiple times and he continued to do it. And Minnesota was a pretty good defense, I'd say. And he still found ways to make high level throws, put balls on windows that guys could go up and get them, and kind of slowly pick apart a good Minnesota defense. I will say that it's when you get the benefit of turnovers on the Minnesota side and they get more possessions, that helps. But it was just one of those situations where he looks like the best freshman quarterback in the country and one of the best underclassmen quarterbacks in the country to this point. So I think I think he goes on, does it again.
One of the more underrated results of the weekend was Cal handling Minnesota. I think Minnesota's usually that team that's under the radar throughout the season, but they looked really good in their first couple of games, put up a ton of points, and they just couldn't do anything against Cal. So big win for the Golden Bears. Jake, what is your most surprising result from week 3?
I would say the Tennessee-Georgia score. Like, the result didn't surprise me in that it was a classic game, but I mean, I'm with Reese. Definitely did not envision that just being an absolute shootout and just 30, 40, 50-yard touchdown pass after another. Like, I was surprised in how well Tennessee kind of took advantage of that Georgia secondary and just some of the mismatches. Like, they just got one-on-ones with some guys, and Tennessee's guys won outright. I did not see that coming. Was pleasantly surprised with Georgia. I think some of those guys stepped up for him. That was nice to see, like Zachariah Branch. But, yeah, I didn't – no shot I saw both of these teams get to 40 points. I mean, I kept telling Reese, I was like, if you're in a live betting state, you just keep taking the under after every time these guys score. And – you would have lost a lot of money because the over-under was at like 70, 60.
I don't know.
Eventually, after you lost it the first 10 times you took it. So that would be just the score outright was the most surprising result for me.
And that's fair. I think the way the game started, I had to kind of catch myself into being like so decisive so early. Like it was 21-7 Tennessee pretty quick, like towards the end of that first quarter. And I was like, man, is this Tennessee team really going to run away with this? And absolutely not. That did not happen. Kirby Smart's group came back in it, but I had to catch myself like early season, those big time matchups. Like it does take these teams a lot of time to settle into the speed of the game. And then from there on, it was just a hell of a battle. Reese, what was your most surprising result from week 3?
I thought it was how Notre Dame defense, they continue to struggle. They give up 41 to this Texas A&M offense, who I had them as SEC. Like I still think they're gonna be a very good football team, but if he doesn't miss that extra point, there's a good chance that goes to overtime or goes further. They might have given up 50 that game. Like the Notre Dame defense, they're giving up 34 a game. They're giving up 406 yards per game. Not to mention, like the balls are getting completed in the air. They're going for 8.3 yards a pass. And Reed was missing some. I texted that in the group chat. Yeah. He was missing some shots. If he connects with some of those, they would have put up 50. They would have put up a little more. And so, and then you just have Craver had that huge run too, and they're missing tackles downfield. So, there's just not fundamentally sound. Like you lost that DC to the NFL, and it's showing early. And not to mention when teams are getting to the red zone, granted it is A&M and Miami, but they've gotten touchdowns 87% of the time. Like they are breaking when they get there. They're not bending. So I think that's something that just Notre Dame has to improve on. If they have a shot at this thing, you got 2 good losses so far, but there's no room for error the rest of the way, at all.
It has been kind of alarming with that defensive changeover. And I got to be honest here, a little personal side story. My boss in the real world, unfortunately, this isn't our full-time job. Hit the subscribe button, help change that. But the boss in the real world is a Chiefs fan and a Notre Dame fan. Hasn't been in the best mood for the last couple of weeks. So if Notre Dame could turn that around, would probably be beneficial to my daily life. So shout out if you're listening. All right. My most surprising result of the weekend, boys, Vandy, South Carolina, the way Vandy went in to South Carolina and absolutely drubbed Beamer's squad. Granted, it's kind of what South Carolina's done under Beamer, and we've been waiting for that turnaround to happen. But how impressive was Diego Pavia and Clark Lee's group on the road, right? They worked their way into our top 25. They really, it was belt to ass the entire game. Like South Carolina fans, that stadium was dead empty at the end of it. Really, it was like a morale clapping thing when they were moving the ball towards the end. So what a performance by Vandy. They might be here in the talks or marquee matchups come later in the season if they keep doing things like that. So shocking result nonetheless.
Yeah, no question marks on South Carolina's defense. Confirmed not what it was a season ago across the entire thing.
The answer has been put out on that one, which leads us into our next question. So I like that lead. We have this segment's going to be we're going to pick 2 teams. It might have been just have a backup team. I'm not sure what JP meant by it, but what's one question about this team, whatever team you choose, that you are worried about or need answered? JP, you first.
I want to know what Wisconsin's plan is. I understand I didn't expect them to be in that game and really battling with Alabama, but I want to know the plan. How are we going to get better week to week? Because there isn't a lot of spots on that team that I'm like, oh, we're just like a small adjustment or changing game plan away from really getting better. I think they just might not be great, but I want to know what the plan is going forward. Because are you leaning on the recruiting classes you're not landing? Are you going to go back into the portal and try to get another quarterback? Because you can't stay healthy at the quarterback position, which stinks, to be completely honest, because you wanted Billy Edwards to play well. But I just wanted to know the plan going forward. Like, how are we adjusting throughout this season?
Right.
And are we really going to get better on the defensive side? And do we still have that ability in the defensive front like we used to at Wisconsin? Or are we're just going to take our L's this year and do our best? I don't really know. I just want to know what the plan is and how everybody's feeling about it.
The way the drastic scheme change went in with Fickell's arrival was so different at Wisconsin, to where they went from this ground and pound, Melvin Gordon, Jonathan Taylor style offenses to this, we're going to spread them out and be a little bit more of an up tempo team. It just turned the fan base off to begin with. And then now you're doing this. Like, you're going to end up jobless really quick just because of the drastic change it was when he got in the door. So I like that question. I think everybody out there in Wisconsin fans would agree with you. Jake, what's yours?
Yeah, Reese touched on it a bunch, so I'll keep mine pretty brief, but it is the Notre Dame defense, because I think a lot of people are writing this team off. I would be slow to come to that judgment.
Not the de facto Notre Dame fan.
Well, I'm just saying in general, I think it's still a little early for a lot of teams to be overreactive, to say Clemson's dead, to say Notre Dame's dead as far as playoff contention goes. I think is a little premature, because a lot of things can happen, and that kind of leads me to our next segment. But anyways, it is surprising. I thought they showed some good things defensively against Miami, but it just turns out that real speed kills them. Like, it really kills them. And Marcel Reed was an even worse matchup than Carson Beck was, which was pretty surprising. And Craver, his speed's ungodly, man. And then Le'Veon Moss got going. It's just like Reese kind of said it before. Had there been like a John Mateer out there for Texas A&M, a more accurate passer, but the ability to use his legs and use his speed, would have really just carved up Notre Dame, like really bad. And he would have taken advantage of those things. It's got to get turned around quick, and they'll have opportunities because the schedule's relatively light moving forward, but just feels like you lose the guys like Watts and Cross, and wow, you have a lot of young guys you're confident in. We're just finding out, man, like, it's a different world. The college football is a different sport. You can't just plug in these 5-star freshmen and sophomores and expect them to just be impact guys right away. Like, this is going to take some time.
I couldn't agree more. Reese, let's go over to you. What's your question you have out there, and what team it's for?
I think Florida. I kind of tend to like, oh, maybe there's a chance they can go upset LSU. But, like, what's going on with Lagway? Like, is he the guy? Are we sure he's going to be the guy over there? Because people are talking about him being one of the best quarterbacks in the SEC, and he did not perform it at all going into Death Valley. And then, like, you're looking at their schedule. 4 of their next 5 games have teams currently ranked in the top 10, and 7 of their last 9 are teams currently ranked in the top 15. So it's not getting any easier. This is the SEC. You're getting on the road. You're getting teams at home, but even games at home, you haven't looked great. You lost to USF at home, who we just saw what Miami handled them. So Lagway, I just think he had all this hype. Like, what is the answer? Because if Napier really wants to try to stay there, what is he going to do to try to resolve that? Is it confidence? Is it getting his timing correct? Is it getting to not force the ball downfield and trust him to use his legs a little more? Like, I just think Florida's got a tough sled. And if they can't figure out what the hell they're going to do with this kid, they're still young, because the schedule is just not getting any easier.
I know back-to-back years we would talk about Florida's schedule and the difficulty of it. And last year they kind of overperformed towards the end of the year, which led into the hype. And now it's kind of fading again with the performance at the beginning of the year. They got to get figured out things earlier than what they have been. So I like that. Mine, I'm staying in the state of Florida. Florida State is my question, and they're coming off a bye. We're not going to get an idea of them this week with Kent State coming into town. But when they get to ACC play, like, where are they really at? Because I feel like most of the narrative of their win over Alabama came to Alabama and them being dead and Nick Saban not being there, and DeBoer's just not going to live in those shoes. But Florida State, they worked their way into our top 10, gentlemen. But, like, where are they at within the conference? Where are they at within the ACC? Where are they at with their depth in Castellanos? So I think we're still a couple of weeks away from that question, and it feels terrible asking about a team that just came off a bye, but still that Florida State, it just doesn't feel like, are they really a top 10 team going to be in the college football playoff? As of now, you'd say yes, but there's still questions out there within their conference for me, and they're still sticking out because they moved into the top 10. That's why they're at the top of my mind. So Florida State for me. All right, last point of the recaps for week 3. Let's go to the last question, and it's one big takeaway from week 3 that you took from the weekend. JP, back to you.
Yeah, the best G5 conference in the country is the American, and I'm not sure I'll hear an argument for any other conference at this point in time. Like Memphis, Navy, North Texas now, like Tulane, go down the list.
Say it again.
It's not close. Like the Mountain West is way behind where we thought they'd be. The Sun Belt's farther behind than where we thought they'd be.
I had the Mountain West all the way down there. Bad conference, bad teams.
Okay, Jake. I'm just saying, in general, we
good job, Jake.
Yeah, just want that to be known.
Army out, Jake.
Yeah, good job, Jake. But it's got the best teams, and it's got probably of the top 10 teams in the G5. Probably, I want to say like it feels like 5 or 6 of them. I'd have to actually break that down and go into it, but it's got to be 5 or 6 of the top 10.
I'll go to mine next. I like the G5. Let's go to the complete opposite in the SEC. Jake, you were big on the week 2, week 3. Even you're probably still don't overreact. Boys, the Arch Manning overreaction is becoming more of an underselling the more we see him play bad teams. Like this guy is going to single-handedly hold back Texas from what they were expected to do, one within their conference, but in the grand landscape of college football. Like he's getting boo birds out, and they're playing UTEP. For God's sake. So I really don't see Texas in the national picture here come middle of conference season. If he keeps doing what he's doing, some things got to change really quick. So that's my big takeaway is, again, a way inferior opponent comes in and Arch Manning just looks bad. Just looks bad. But I do have a funny joke, but I'll keep it cordial. I did it feels like an Iowa quarterback right now. Like this is the guy that Iowa would then go get next season. Like that's what he's playing.
He's gonna throw it in there.
Yeah, he's just like,
he's gonna keep it cordial. I'm gonna throw it in there.
I had a thought pop in. I catch enough strays.
I get it.
I catch enough strays.
If Jake gets to jump in here and say, oh, well, I was right about the Mountain West, right? Preseason. I was not the
Didn't
Iowa
say it
fan
like that.
We
Okay.
had the second coming at quarterback.
No, you weren't.
Not that guy.
I wouldn't accuse you of that.
This whole like shebang going on.
I was also right about
Gronowski.
We
were trying to like.
Remember that clip during spring practice when he completed that pass though? Dude, it was sick.
See, I didn't. That's what I mean. It's like
that was an insane
jump it. It's a Barstool account that tweeted out the damn thing. What do you want me to do?
No, the Iowa football team tweeted it, and then they.
They tweeted out a practice clip. I've seen football accounts.
It was sick though.
Somebody dribbling a basketball. And
I said
AI.
I said because they tweeted out another thing Iowa football did during the fall, and I said, can we see something that's not 7-on-7? Can we see live action with linemen in there? And clearly that was that was an issue.
Nope.
So,
Jake,
I'll just
your big takeaway. Yeah.
I'll piggyback off yours. I'll piggyback a little bit off of yours. I seeing Texas kind of struggle in a bunch of other games this weekend. Like the SEC feels as wide open as I've ever seen it. I know Georgia kind of feels like maybe they pulled away with it this weekend and they got that big win on the road. I'd have to go back and look at the rest of their schedule. I think they still got some tough road stretches. I think they still go to Austin, if I'm not mistaken. They might have a couple others, but the SEC just feels as wide open as it's ever been. You look at like LSU is some people's number 1 team in the country right now, and their offense is kind of, I don't know if stagnant is a better word. I was going to say horrendous. Thank you. Stagnant is a good word because I think Florida does have a good defense, but you're going to see other better defenses along the way, and you got to clean that up. And then I think Florida losing is bad for the SEC because I think they're going to get some good teams down the stretch, kind of like they did last year. Ole Miss, we got a quarterback competition on our hands. Texas, like Arch is just struggling right now, man. Here comes Tennessee in the mix. Like Tennessee could be a top 3 team in that league.
Right.
And then Texas A&M goes on the road and wins at Notre Dame. Like I think I made a hot take. I don't know if thank you. And we didn't even forget about Vanderbilt. I think I said it in our hot takes episode of our SEC preview when I said the conference champion might be featuring 2 9-3 teams. And I feel pretty confident in saying that actually might be a real thing. We might actually be getting that in December. And I think it's fun. Like, as much as we crap on the SEC and it's all about the SEC, I think this league being wide open is fun. Didn't even mention Auburn and Oklahoma. Like, the list goes on and on.
It does feel more open than years past, for sure. I feel like that one dominant, all the offseason coverage team has just not been there, because that was pretty much Texas. Reese, your one takeaway.
You kind of touched on this conference before, but I'm going to go to a different Power 4 conference. The ACC, Georgia Tech's win is massive. I think it means that Clemson is starting their decline. If Florida State and Miami, if that goes to be a competitive game, there's a scenario. Like, if you look at Georgia Tech's schedule, the rest of their schedule is very, very winnable. And then Miami and Florida State, if they can find a way to both continue to win football games, and each one of these teams both has one loss at the end of the year. Say that one loss is your ACC title game. Georgia Tech's one loss is to Georgia at the end of the year. Is there a chance we get 3 ACC teams? Like, we were talking about, maybe not even getting 2. Like, is there a chance we get 3 ACC teams with Tech winning? If Tech wins out, they lose their one game to Georgia at the end of the year. Yeah. They play Georgia at the end of the year. Say they win that game, then they go lose the ACC title. Florida State loses in 2 weeks to Miami, but then they go into the ACC title game, but then they lose to Georgia Tech or whatever. Somehow those 3 teams only have one loss between the 3 of them. Like, each team has one loss. I think there's a chance you can get all 3 of those teams in the college football playoff at the end of the year. Like, we were talking about, can this conference even get 2 in? We can maybe get 3 if these teams play out right.
A Georgia Tech college football playoff run would absolutely make my year. Good Lord, that would be good for football.
You know who's smiling right now at their schedule that looks a little easier as time moves on in the ACC?
Tell me. You're going to say Cal, aren't you?
No.
Oh, okay.
Louisville.
Not Stanford. Yeah. The team has been in our top 25 since week 1, and we haven't been barely talked about them, JP. It's a
they can get through the next 4 weeks after this Bowling Green game. They beat Pitt, Virginia, Miami, Boston College. That's the toughest stretch. Then they get Virginia Tech, Cal, Clemson, SMU, Kentucky.
So
maybe.
Yeah. I'm sorry. Did I miss you? Do they miss Florida State and Clemson? Did I hear you say that?
They got Clemson.
They do play
in
Clemson.
November, but they do not play Florida State,
Florida State and Miami.
And Clemson. Clemson comes to Louisville, and they play at Miami. So, there's some slip-up opportunities, but I'm just saying, you like it more than you thought you did.
Yeah, the ACC, it's changing. It's funny because that Georgia Tech Clemson game, Clemson had their chances, man. They really did not take advantage of some spots of that first drive of the game, the Klubnik fumble to follow up the worst 4th down call I've ever seen. Big time win for Georgia Tech. That would be great for Georgia Tech to get in there. That just makes me more mad every time we talk about that Georgia Tech game at the end of the year that it's not in Atlanta. That's absolute bullshit. It just does the whole sport a disservice.
Well, it is in Atlanta.
It's in Mercedes-Benz. It's in the Benz zone.
Yeah, it does help.
Not on campus. Not on campus. Sorry. Very good clarification there. All right, that's week 3 recaps. Let's go into the week 4 previews. These games and previews are presented by our great partner over at No Rivals. Shop NoRivals.com, the best hats in collegiate sports. Check these new designs out. Came out from Nebraska. Got Golfing Herbie on tonight. Got to channel my inner golfer for JP's bachelor party this weekend, which is why we're recording on Tuesday night. Reese has the Syracuse No Rivals hat on. Jake should have a hat on, but the best hats in the game. Use the code PTFS at checkout for free shipping on your order. Free shipping.
I'm going to catch the next tray.
What's the next tray? Why would you catch?
I'm going to catch
the
next tray. You've gotten JP and you've gotten Shafe. I'm going to get one sometime this episode.
No, I don't know if you've been paying attention, Reese. That's the 3rd straight week I've caught a stray. And now it's just kind of.
I got to use it while I got it. The hair, it's growing out. It's getting a little bit better.
What do we got?
What do we got
going on?
Better than my hair.
It's a full head of hair.
I can take off my hat and make you feel good about myself.
Yeah, it's just I got a full head of hair. I don't know what else I'm supposed to do.
Reese, you still rocking some hair up there? No, you call it quits.
I got some. We got some.
There it is.
There will speak going.
Like it looks good. It's nice and full. Products are working good. It's actually nice.
Fire me up, boys. Here we go.
That's not bad. All right.
Sorry, we had a question.
what's the
GA
question?
Had a question here.
Y'all super chat disappeared
from a heck of a problem with YouTube. Yeah.
The
So
AdSense,
it should be back
I'm not
on,
sure.
but who knows? Yeah.
We're hopefully getting that figured out as we get more approval to be able to monetize the show a little bit, just to pay for the show. It's not going to be putting anything in our pockets, I'll tell you that. But good Lord, if I could figure that out, that would be nice. Hopefully we can add that next week for you.
Help us out.
Go find the No Rivals hat, GA. Shop No Rivals. PTFS is the code, free shipping on that order. We're also trying to get you your free one. So check out the fan perspectives. Drop a score prediction in each one of those for a chance at a free No Rivals cap. Shout out Shop No Rivals today. All right, gents, let's talk week 4 college football. Let's start in Rice-Eccles Stadium. Big noon kickoff, Texas Tech and Utah. The Big 12 battle everybody's been waiting for. All that money on the field for the Red Raiders and Utah, who seems to be a contender once again. Jake, break this game down for us.
Yeah, I know it's early and it's premature, but we might have the best offense in Texas Tech in the league go against the best defense in Utah in the league. Like, we might have that best head-to-head matchup at this point. And this one feels very similar to another game we're going to break down in the Big Ten in Indiana and Illinois. Like, this one has, man, I hate being the guy to say it, but this one kind of has college football playoff implications on it. And it definitely has Big 12 title implications because Utah, Texas Tech, Iowa State, maybe Arizona State, like those are your 4 teams who need to run the table and maybe go 11-1, 12-0 if Big 12 wants to try and get 2 teams in the league. So this is going to be really telling. And Utah's defense has been really, really good so far. They've only given up 25 total points. But fellas, I look at Utah on paper and I'm like, man, they look back. They look like they can defend Rice-Eccles. The offense is there. That win at UCLA doesn't seem so good anymore, does it? Yeah. So UCLA, Cal Poly, and then Wyoming was giving them fits last week. Now, they dominated the stats in that football game, and Wyoming was just kind of hanging around on some lucky stuff. But Wyoming's one of the worst teams in the Mountain West, and I just told you how I feel about that league. So I don't know what we're getting out of Utah, but I don't think if you're a Texas Tech fan, you can really say much either, because it should be a crime that you have to play Arkansas, Pine Bluff, and Kent State in the same schedule. But that's my personal opinion. Hey, but you backed it up and you beat a horrendous Oregon State team. So what the hell are we going to get on Saturday between these 2 teams? I think the running duo of Wayshawn Parker, the running back from Washington State, paired up with Devin Dampier, is really, really dangerous. Like, they don't give it to Parker a ton. He gets to about 10 or 11 carries. But because Dampier's so good with his legs and doing the option stuff, Parker's averaging like 5 yards per carry. And he's really, really dangerous. And I look at the defensive ends for Texas Tech and David Bailey and Romello Height, 2 of probably the best defensive ends in the league. So can you contain one of the most mobile quarterbacks in college football, and especially in the Big 12? I think that's the matchup for me. I am fascinated to see. And then on the other side, I know Utah's defense is still going to be really good, and I would like to see what that passing attack of Texas Tech can look like and how do they attack that Utah defense this weekend. I got to ask Reese, I know last year doesn't count. Is Rice-Eccles back? Are we putting Rice-Eccles home field advantage into this one? Is it back yet?
We'll see what the defense does in this one, I think, is the determining factor. If they can shut down Bear Morton and company, then I think it's back. But we also, because I think that's what like Utah's like. I mean, they've been good last how many years, like with the Rising being gone and injured, like it's always just iffy. If that offense is solid, I think it fuels that defense. If that defense is back, then when the lights go out there, or when the sun goes away there, it's just a different place to play. It's just harder to go in there and win. But I would think if the defense shows up, that's when you know Rice-Eccles is back.
Sun ain't going down.
Rat up.
Sun ain't going down. We're
playing
playing this at 10 a.m.
You're right,
10 a.m. Utah time.
I think they'll be ready to go. I think you brought up a great point, Jake, talking about the skew of the schedules this early in the season with the opponents both of these people have drawn. I mean, UCLA doesn't even have a coach as of right now. I guess they kind of do, but that team just proved to be really, really bad, and New Mexico blew them out. But the stats on both sides of the ball, and I kind of did the same thing in my Nebraska-Michigan preview this weekend, is they feel skewed. Like, you're going to look at them and be like, man, both these teams put up a ton of points. Like, no, they've both been really good defensively and really good offensively because they've played pretty bad competition across the board. But the offensive line at Utah's kind of been impressive to me. And the step forward they've taken, 6 yards per rush this year, over 300 yards on the ground a game. It's unbelievable. And then they've only gotten sacked on a 1.5% of their dropbacks this season. So they've kept Dampierre upright. He's done a good job and exactly what we expected out of the offseason, extending plays to the best of his ability. And it's really sparked the Utah offense. That was their issue the last 2 years after Cam Rising left. They couldn't find a quarterback that could throw the ball consistently. They had Bryson Barnes, and he could run a little bit, but like their throwing game was completely out of the question. Now that's back in. You've seen the steps forward they've taken. But on the other side, money talks, gentlemen. It's 2025 college football. The talent you put on the field with the money you've invested in a program usually pans out. But in this environment, in Rice-Eccles, and what they've got going and what the fan base has been waiting to come back since they left the Pac-12, it feels like this is the moment where they can really take it to a team with high expectations and a high payroll, as in Texas Tech. But on the flip side, Texas Tech being healthy, this is a show that's been high on Texas Tech the last 2 years. Quarterback goes down, something goes extremely wrong, and the rest of their season starts to go south. This is a fully healthy team. This is one of my favorite games of the weekend, and I'm excited it's coming out of the Big 12. I like Utah on the edge just because they're at home and all the excitement around the program kind of finally being back since their entrance into the Big 12. JP.
Yeah, the difference between this Texas Tech team and other ones is that there is legitimate star power on the offensive and defensive line. We've talked about, and you touched on how good we knew Utah's offensive line is going to be one of the best, top 2 in the Big 12, easy, one of the best in the country. Well, they went on the other side, Texas Tech, and went and bought guys to go disrupt passing games, to go disrupt the run game. Now you need to see it happen and get put into place. And there's a real world where both of those things can be true. They both happen in this game, and we leave it like we did. I'll relate it to the Illinois-Nebraska game last year where we felt like both teams played really well, but one team has to win kind of thing. So I don't really know if Texas Tech can sit there and say if they come out of this one as a 3.4.1 possession loss, that things are over or bad.
Right.
I am a little worried on Texas Tech and in the secondary. I understand that they've done some things and reworked it a little bit. It's schemed a little bit better. They don't have to cover as long with a better defensive line, but maybe you do in this. There's a world where Jason Beck just kind of schemes things wide open for Dampierre, and they have guys running open in the secondary. Texas Tech has the better receivers, but Utah's got guys that are they're going to be fine. They're there to get schemed open and worked open. What quarterback makes less mistakes? When Morton struggles or is banged up, Texas Tech has struggled in the past. And obviously with a new quarterback in Dampierre, who we've seen play hero ball before, at his time at New Mexico, is there a situation here where he does a similar thing? So whoever can stay within themselves, I think, goes a long ways here. It's not breaking any news or anything, but in games like this, where 2 teams have picked to top the conference play early in a year, it's usually a mistake that changes the game. It's a turnover somewhere or a penalty that makes no sense, something like that. So that's just how I see this thing going. And this is one of the better games of the season in college football. If you're previewing this one and not, getting a little jittery, getting you going a little bit, you don't love college
football. You're watching the wrong sport.
You might, yeah.
It's a fun one.
I absolutely love that. Reese, any more on your expansion? I know yours was kind of short, but did you have any more on this game you want to break down before we go to picks?
I just think early in this game is going to be huge. I think if Texas Tech gets behind the 8 ball and like JP's talking about, somebody's going to make a mistake. I think if they do make a mistake, if they can't get Eakin involved, I think a super for them too is their tight end Terrence. He's a stud. He's already got 10 catches for almost 200 yards and 3 touchdowns. So they can get him involved. I think that's a big help too. But if Morton just doesn't turn the ball over, and they can keep themselves in it, because I think if Utah, the big thing is Texas Tech hasn't faced an offense like this so far, and Dampierre has looked like a stud. Comes over with his OC from with Jason Beck as well. So I think if they're able to be successful, because I think early on they're going to be, because Texas Tech hasn't seen it, it's going to take them time to get adjusted. So if Tech can't keep up with them in the first half, I think Utah has a little more success in this one. So.
Yeah, I feel like this could go one of 2 ways in my mind before we go to picks. It's going to be like that Georgia-Tennessee high-flying start or just scrappy, ugly punt football. There's no in between. I don't think it's going to be one-sided at all.
Yeah, there's a world where Texas Tech's defense is good enough to slow them down and kind of stun them a little bit. That's a world we live in, which is not what you would think for years prior.
This is Big 12 now, JP, so we're probably talking 21-21 end of one. Get us back to the old Big 12 days. Those were the best.
Fire them up.
All right, let's go to picks. Utah, 3.5-point favorite live right now. You got the Utes at home, or are you going with the Red Raiders? Jake.
Yeah, I wanted Texas Tech, but I can't. With them going different time zone and the 10 a.m. start.
It's an hour.
It's an hour back.
It's a real thing. Going west. It is a real thing.
It is. It's a real thing. They are going back in time. That's a real thing. That's real.
That's why Nebraska lost to Colorado.
I can't deny that.
I like that, Jake. Don't let them tell you any different. You're right.
Yeah. Texas Tech, fun fact, has probably never kicked off a game at 10 a.m. So there's that for you. I think it is a real thing, and for that, the defense, like I haven't seen enough of Texas Tech that I just love what I've seen from that team. So for what we don't know, I know there's a little bit of familiarity with Utah. So I'm going to just take the short 3.5 points at home.
Yeah, as I kind of wavered throughout my preview, I just think home field advantage is going to be too much this early in the season, and the fan base is going to be locked in. Like, this place is going to be raucous, 10 a.m. or not. I don't care the travel time. Like, this place, this fan base is going to be ready to go. I like the offensive talent, love the offensive line. I think if they can sustain a running game, Utah can cover this one pretty easily. So I like the Utes at home. Reese.
It'd be a sin if I were to go against the Utes, but I don't. This was like a flip flop for me all week. I'm going to take the points with Utah. I'm going to lay them. I think if they do get the run game going early, and Dan Pierre can do some stuff, make some magic happen, Texas Tech's got to try to keep up early. Morton makes some mistakes. Give me the Utes.
JP, save us.
Yeah.
You can't. You don't have to. Take your pick. We'll ride with it. We want a unanimous pick. It's not like, oh.
How do our unanimous picks go last week? Do we have any? I didn't even check.
We won the last one that we had. We didn't have last week.
We won. Yeah, I mean, I was taking Utah the whole time. I can't flip it just based on
here we go.
Principle here.
Oklahoma, Michigan was our win. That was
we're all on Utah.
That was definitive.
That's a tough go of it.
All right, all Utah. I like Utah. That. We're all on the same page. Great breakdown of that Big 12 matchup. Make sure you're tuned into that one. Big noon kickoff on Fox. All right, let's move it down the line. Let's go to the next game. Let's go to the SEC. Let's talk Jackson Arnold's return to Norman. Auburn takes on Oklahoma with the new shiny toy in town, John Mateer. All the Heisman talk, all the hype early in the season. First conference test. Let's break this one down from the top. JP, do it for us.
I think where you need to start on this one is understanding who Auburn was against Baylor on offense. And then you need to understand what Oklahoma did to Michigan when Michigan went in to Norman earlier in the year. Is Auburn really going to go in there and move the football that much better than what Michigan was doing? Maybe, but I don't know if your confidence level would be high on that. I feel pretty good that Auburn's going to play a little bit better defense than Michigan did. That Michigan has a solid defense. I'm not going to say they don't, but you kind of look at it in perspective. I think there's a better front for Auburn. Like, they have a better defensive line than Michigan does. I think they're a little bit better in the secondary, but not much. Similar in that aspect. All that to say, I felt like Mateer in that game against Michigan kind of had to make a couple big plays, and that really flipped the way that game was handled. It wasn't like they were walking up and down the field the entire night. They needed a couple things to go their way. He threw a couple really good footballs, and he got out of the pocket and ran well. But there's a shot Auburn can slow that down a little bit more. On the flip side, is Jackson Arnold going to all of a sudden hit guys that are open? Because I don't feel like Oklahoma's defensive line and linebacking core is going to let him get out of the pocket. They know what they're getting out of him. So they're going to keep him in the pocket and try to make him beat him with his arm. Good news is he's got three-headed monster at receiver, and he has the weapons to do so. Can he do it, though, is a different question. So that's the whole thing for me. If they can keep him in the pocket and he can't use his legs to escape and continue to make plays, and he's doing it all with his arm, are we looking at a 20 for 35 type performance, or are we looking maybe he's sitting 15 for 35? Who knows? Like, the opportunity for him is huge here, because I do feel like he has a chance to prove himself against a really good Oklahoma defense. This is an all-time two really good defensive lines with a shot to get after two offensive lines that I'm a little more unsure about. We could end up with two quarterbacks who move really well, still getting sacked 3-4 times each. Who can control the football and continue to get first downs and sustain drives is the entire thing for me here. 6.5 feels like a lot, but I understand where it is, because I could see Oklahoma being a 3-point favorite on a neutral, because I assume they're giving them 3 for being home field, 3.5 almost. This one is like right where you expect the line. Do you guys think that there's any real distinct difference between these two teams? Two really good receiving cores, two quarterbacks that move really well, still trying to prove a little bit with their arms, two really good defensive fronts. Where's the big difference between these two teams? Is there one that really sticks out to you?
I would say the Auburn run game. Personally, I think they're more comfortable running the football than what. I mean, Oklahoma's kind of finding some backs, but no Jade, not really. And Javante Barnes has been pretty limited. The Torrey kid has been getting a lot of run for them. So I would say that would be. It's not like head and shoulders above Oklahoma, but
I was curious because I was trying to like look through it and find that. So yeah, Jake or Parks, if you had something too, go ahead.
Yeah, on this game, I think it's such an interesting storyline for the preparation of this game because you look back in Auburn's game with Baylor. What was their success? It was Arnold running the football. And even that Michigan game, as low scoring as it was with Oklahoma, where was the difference maker? It was Mateer running the football. So really, both of these teams in practice all week, all their one defenses have seen a running quarterback. Like they're going to be more prepared than the opponents that they played because those two didn't really have the ability that these two have. I think in this situation, home field advantage is huge as well. I think, Arnold returning the way he kind of went out and was really in the back seat behind Hawkins at the end of the season to then go and be successful at Auburn. I don't think Oklahoma fans, and we've had our discrepancies with them in the past, and JP's called them out for booing quarterbacks and being kind of that fan base that really struggles to understand things. You got one that can come in here and really prove you wrong. And I don't know if Brett Venables' ability to schematically set up a defense like he did for years at Clemson and just hasn't been able to do for a full season at Oklahoma is going to allow that to happen. So I like this game to go to Oklahoma because they're at home. And I'm a Brett Venables guy. I've never steered away from him. I want him to be successful. I think he will be. And I think his defense gives Oklahoma the edge here and really shuts down Jackson Arnold. Gets to him a few times, pops him. That's the way I see this game going. Jake, go ahead.
I mean, I think we really haven't mentioned it. Like, you feel like Oklahoma and Brett Venables, has to have at least some sort of an advantage at home with Jackson, like knowing Jackson Arnold's tendencies. Like, you had the guy in your program for 2 years. And I know he's a little bit of a different player, but when he's been at his best this year, it's his ability to use his legs. And I don't think that's not surprising to anybody. So if you're Brett Venables, you want to challenge him to beat you through the air. I think the biggest thing and the irony of this entire game, fellas, is that both of these teams have vastly improved their turnovers compared to where they were last September. And now Auburn has the quarterback responsible for a lot of those turnovers turnover issues Oklahoma had last year. So it is really interesting. I think Jackson Arnold is a better version of himself, and I think Auburn's using him well. And I think he has much better receivers this year than he did last year. But I'm just really interested to kind of see. I think this game's just going to come down to turnovers, and both of these teams have been clean all year, but two solid defenses, two solid defensive coordinators calling plays. I think one of these teams is going to get the other. I don't know really who it is at this point, but I feel like one of them is going to get somebody.
I'd like to see Coleman on the outside.
One of the teams is going to get the other one.
I think one side is going to make one too many mistakes. No, that's stupid to say. Like obvious.
The video.
Okay, obvious, right? But these two teams have been playing clean football all year. And I just feel like one of these two teams are going to break this week and not play clean football.
Yeah, no, and it's fair to say, and it could go ugly. I could see both teams turning into that ugly version of themselves, but I'd like to see Auburn get the ball to Coleman a little bit more on the outside. I think he was pretty stagnant against Baylor, hasn't been jumping off the page for me in any week for fantasy, so they got to get him in open space a little bit because it's starting to feel like a sophomore slump season. Yeah,
Singleton, my receiver.
Yeah, he sure is. Shut up, Jake. Didn't you start somebody that didn't play? All right. Reese,
sure did.
Give us your thoughts on this matchup.
No, I'll keep it short. I just piggyback off of Jake's idea. I just think you're looking at Arnold last year. Yes, his weapons are better this year, but what did Michigan do against this Oklahoma run defense? They ran the ball 19 times for 125 yards. That was Justice Haynes, and 75 of those yards came on one run. So if Arnold is successful, it's when they run the football. And looking at their track record so far, this Oklahoma defense is going to limit them running the football. Yes, it helps when you have good receivers out wide, but I think this Oklahoma defense is just going to be a lot better. They're going to bring the intensity. I think Arnold is going to make way more. If is it Mateer or is it Arnold? Who's going to make more mistakes? You're going to compare these two guys right now. I'm going to go with the guy that's done it. He did it when he was in Norman and when it was his home team. Now he's going on the road there where they're going to be a lot more hostile and they're going to want to get after him. I think OU in this spot is perfect. I think Venables gets this done. I don't think there's any doubt about that one. Give me Mateer in the Sooners.
All right. I like that. I like you brought up the running game because I got to watch Oklahoma, Michigan. Like I watched it way more in depthly than probably most just recently. And I think they didn't get credit a lot for the run defense against Justice Haynes and Michigan and Underwood and what they wanted to do. Like Underwood couldn't complete anything, but they really limited him in the run game. And then Haynes had 19 carries for 125 and a score, but 75 of them were on one run. So you had 18 carries for 50 yards before that. Yeah. Like
not good.
Not great at all. So if they could really limit the Auburn run game, which Jake said that's where their advantage is, they're going to put themselves in a good spot. So I love that point from Reese. All right. Oklahoma, Auburn, 6.5 favorites are the Sooners. Let's go to picks. Jake, who you got?
Yeah, if we're going to keep it under a touchdown, I'm just going to go Oklahoma here. I think everything lies within them and it just feels like there's got to be so much. Jackson Arnold's going to have such a big chip on his shoulder, and I feel like it's going to be too much, that he's going to have too many emotions to just want to try and outperform this team. So I like Oklahoma in the spot.
Yeah, and he'll force some things when he tries to do that. So creating those turnovers, Venables' defense, we've seen him have a million of them. Give me the Sooners. I'm on that too. JP.
Yeah, give me the points, please. I'll play 6.5. I understand all of what you're saying, and like I agree with it to a point, but I think Auburn's got the ability to slow down Mateer in the offense. It's just if it's going to be run amok, hard to come by yardage, I think they stay close.
All right. I like that. Maybe saving us from back-to-back unanimous picks. Reese, let it rip.
Boomer!
All right. 3 on Oklahoma. Shout out to our buddy Ty, big Oklahoma fan. We got 3 of us on there. JP on the other side at plus 6.5 for Auburn. That's going to be a great matchup in the big time spot for both teams. All right. That's the SEC. Let's go to the other big name conference in the Big Ten. Let's talk the Nebraska Cornhuskers and Michigan Wolverines matchup Saturday afternoon in Lincoln in the prime time, formerly SEC CBS slot. Little tongue twister there.
CBS, yep.
Yes, big time slot for Nebraska at home. Dylan Raiola, Bryce Underwood, couple of young quarterbacks going head to head. Let's break this one down from the top. Obviously, I'll be much more brief with this one because I have a full breakdown out there live on our YouTube right now. Check it out. JP, you first.
Oh, you want me? I didn't know if you wanted to kind of just lay your foundation. Okay.
No, I like to hear the crowd. I'll address questions. Maybe I'll get angry.
I'll address questions.
Yeah, I think that there's one question here that sticks out. Is Nebraska's defensive line still holding the ability to be as disruptive as it was a season ago? Michigan's offensive line, it's not as talented as it was the last couple years. Can they keep guys off of Underwood? He still holds the football for a little bit of time. He's kind of gotten this habit where I think I was just listening to Cover 3 and Fornelli was talking about how long they sit in the pocket before they are doing something to kind of make something happen. Like they don't read something quick enough. Can you scheme something up if you're Nebraska to get to him a little bit quicker? I think that's a possibility. Nebraska in that defense, losing Tony White, like you lose like a guy calling the plays, but I feel like there's some still pieces there that they really like. Michigan on the other side, they like their receivers a little bit more, but I don't think I'd be terrified of them if I was anybody playing them. And the run game is going to play another spot here where they have to find something that works, and it can't just be Underwood's legs. On the other side here, Raiola has continued to find a way to kind of improve and throw less turnover-worthy passes, and that's a big deal. Then the receiving core for Nebraska also improved again. The offensive line looks solid against Cincinnati. Good news for them. There's not a guy on the interior of Michigan like a Corleone is, who was very disruptive in that game in Kansas City, but they just didn't have the supplemental guys. Is there a way that Nebraska continue to run the football with like an Emmett Johnson and kind of just grab 3.5, 4 yards a carry? There's a world where they go sub 3 yards a carry, and Raiola's got to really use his receivers on the outside and work in that direction. Where do you feel more confidence in? Because I'm still calling Raiola a young quarterback. I understand he's got 15 games under his belt by this point in time. Still a young quarterback. Obviously, Underwood's a super young quarterback. This is going to be close. Who makes less mistakes in a certain spot? And it's purely based on if you have to make a play are you going to force that play to happen, or are you going to see it happen in front of you and, deliver a football where it needs to be on time? That's kind of what it comes down to. This isn't new for Underwood to say like he's going into a hostile environment. He also got to play in Norman a couple weeks ago. Lincoln's another place that's really tough to play in. So he understands what he's getting into. I mean, I just need to see them make a couple plays. Like, you haven't seen Michigan make a couple plays that change games. Even in Nebraska's losses of the last year, you saw them make plays that were game-winning worthy plays. And I think that shouldn't go unnoticed. So this is a classic Big Ten game. It's going to be really tough. You need to watch the lines of scrimmage because they're both offensive lines that kind of want to prove themselves, both defensive lines that want to prove themselves. These are guys that don't usually have their names on draft boards like these teams have had in recent years. So intrigued to watch that, watch the interior. I want to see what these receivers do to work open against secondaries that are pretty solid. Intrigued. I put this game above Oklahoma Auburn in my interest level for sure, because you're still learning about these two teams. So unsure, coin flip it if you want to.
Jake.
I'll keep it pretty simple. I think it just comes down to which running back makes the life easier for the young quarterback. I think Justice Haynes and Emmett Johnson are two of the best within the Big Ten. I think Justice Haynes might be the best running back in the Big Ten at this point. And you kind of mentioned like the Michigan or the Oklahoma game where he had 18 carries for 50 yards, but he had that 175-yard run. Well, how many running backs can break open a 75-yard run? There's not a lot. I haven't seen a bunch of running backs to this point in college football that have the ability to do that. And Haynes
was a great cut too.
So I think
nasty.
You keep that in mind. I do think it's fair for when JP says that Raiola is still young, and obviously we know Underwood is still young. I'm interested because Raiola has been more composed. He's been a little more accurate than Underwood is, but Underwood has an ability to use his legs that's unlike, frankly, any quarterback in college football. I think he's got the athleticism to really break free, and we saw him really break that last week with over 100 yards. I know it was against Central Michigan, but that's just like very early of what he could be with his ability to use his legs. When we made the bad Cam Newton comps, like that's what they see out of this kid. I worry, like Brendan Sorsby had 68 passing yards against Nebraska, but he really killed Nebraska with his legs. Like that's what kept Cincinnati in the game. So if you're Michigan, you watch that film and you see how can you use your young quarterback who's much more athletic than Brendan Sorsby is, and how can you stay on the field and keep drives alive like he did against Nebraska.
Reese.
Yeah, I think the blueprint is there. It's how's Michigan going to run the football? If they can't run it, look at what's going to happen in Norman, where Underwood's got to beat you with his legs. But if they can run the ball, like if you just talked about it, but if Sorsby can run the ball, it makes it a little bit more interesting. But I think early in this game is going to be big time, almost like when Colorado came through and it was just Nebraska early right away just because of how aggressive they were. If you're going to get Underwood into third and long early, and you guys are talking about, if JB is talking about, if he's got to force throws early in a crowd that's going to be loud in a hostile environment, if they keep them in third and long and he's got to try to beat them with their arm, I think it's going to be a long day for them, especially if they cannot get the run game going. Then I think it's just going to be an uphill battle this whole time there because they're just going to slow it down. I don't know if Michigan has the capability to go burn them over the top and have big play after big play. So,
all right, I'll tell you this: without pumping our tires, it's probably the best break any show would give, because as a part of the fan base, you're right. It comes down to up front on the defensive side of the ball. JP nailed it. Riley Van Poppel trying to fill the shoes of what Ty Robinson and Nash Hutmacher did last year. We haven't seen it be that. Like, we haven't seen Nawari be the 5-star yet. I mean, but we're coming off a couple bad opponents, right?
Getting up for Houston Christian.
Yeah, no, he looked really good. And I think maybe JP was on the edge. He probably could have scored there too. That team was bad. But yeah, no, that's what it comes down. I think the linebackers are going to be uber important. I think the development, John Butler, new defensive coordinator that stepped in from formerly defensive backs coach in the NFL for the Buffalo Bills. You've seen the development there, and that group who's rated #1 in college football right now. So you got to think they're coming in with the game plan to run the football with Bryce Underwood and Justice Haynes all day long and control the clock, keep Dylan Raiola off the field. I think that's going to be the blueprint for Michigan. And if they can get him off schedule by plugging the run early, then Nebraska can put himself in a really good spot. So that's the blueprint. That's kind of what you guys all said. So let's go to picks. Michigan, Nebraska, Memorial Stadium, 2.5-point favorite are the Wolverines. You taking the home dog, or where are you going, JP, first?
I'll take +2.5. Screams 1.2 point late game. So I'll take plus 2.5.
Reese.
Which shocked me, by the way. I just want to say that I thought Nebraska would be favored for sure in this one.
I'm going to go with the home dog too. I think Underwood's not going to be able to do it with his arm. I think he's going to make mistakes, and I think Michigan is going to run the ball as effectively as they would like to. So I'll go Skurs. Give me the points.
Jake.
I think it's fair to say that this is a prove-it game for Dylan Raiola, who's been good this year, and he was good to start last year. But I think as the schedule got a little tougher last year and it got colder, and I think he struggled a bit. So I think going against the Michigan defense, if he has a day, I think would be a big confidence boost and just a national, he's on the biggest stage, like that CBS game, you laid it out there. There's going to be all eyes on it. And I think there's not everybody's had all eyes on Dylan Raiola yet. So this is a good opportunity for him. I would just say, that being said, the stat about isn't rule. I haven't beaten a top 25 team since Temple, and you're giving me just 2.5 in a 1-score game. Prove me otherwise, I guess. So I'll take Michigan right now.
Sounds good. On the Huskers, I had them winning that football game. Obviously, it's a little spoiler to my fan perspective, but you can hear my full thoughts and breakdown live on our YouTube right now. 3 on Nebraska, 1 on Michigan. I don't think it's dumb. I'm not even trying to sound negative.
We should play
it's a 2.5 point spread.
Yeah,
during this game. We should play a drinking game during this game. Every time they mention that, right?
That's gonna be a bad.
Yeah, and if Michigan scores, then we can throw a full glass beer at my head. That will be the game.
That's gonna be a bad game.
Yeah,
every time they mention number 1 overall quarterback in either class, it's a drink. Every time they mention your
anytime Pat Mahomes,
yeah. Anytime they mention this,
is Taylor gonna be at this one?
No, I do have I will say, just a quick side story before we go to the next preview, because we only got 2 more. But I was at the Chiefs game this weekend for work, and there was a couple of Taylor Swift impersonators there, dress like her, that they would I'm serious, full grown women.
I believe you.
And they would, they wanted them to come up and try the product I was selling, and I was like, Walmart Taylor, get over here, and they answered to it. So it's a quick side fun. Stop dressing up like a superstar, please do not do that. But all right, that is Michigan and Nebraska. That one's going to be a ton of fun over on CBS in the 2:30 slot, prime time. Nestler on the call. Oh, wow, I should be fired as host for saying that. Danielson on the call, not Nestler. I miss you though, Brad. All right, let's stay in the Big Ten. Let's go to one of the bigger matchups of the week. Indiana, Illinois, probably, in my opinion, should have been College game day. We got to break this one down, gentlemen. These are 2 teams that are off to great starts. All the expectations around Brett Bielema's squad in Illinois and Signetti squad with all of their transfers coming in. Fernando Mendoza, a lot of storylines here. How you feeling about it? Reese, why don't you go first for us?
I think this year, when you look at the college football playoff, if you're having a veteran quarterback that's been around with your program for more than a year, it seems successful so far. So look at this one, Altmaier in this spot. I like them, especially getting this game at home. Illinois has not turned the ball over yet so far, too. That's huge. He's made good throws, been smart, and they're playing like a top 10 team. Expect they're beating the team they're supposed to, and then you go on the road, you play Duke. We're not really sure what to think of Duke, but Mensa had those turnovers. And what does a good team do when you turn the ball over? They go and score points. They take advantage of that, and that's exactly what they did. They separated themselves in the game. An average or a poor team is going to turn the ball back over, or they're going to go off on downs or whatever it is, and they're not going to score points. They went down the field and they scored points. So I really think that's good about this, what it says about this Illinois offense and Bielema and kind of this train they got going. But the only concern there is Altmaier's been sacked 9 times so far. That's got to be sharpened up here too, because this Indiana defense, they got 8 sacks so far. They've picked off their opposing quarterbacks 4 times and they forced 1 fumble. So far, this defense is forcing fumbles or getting in the backfield. They're causing issues for that opposing quarterback. So I think it's going to be a challenge for Altmaier. But again, like I just talked about, having a veteran quarterback definitely helps in this situation. But as also too, what helps out is you have the weapons that Altmaier has with Fegan and Beatty, Fegan in the backfield and Beatty out wide. So I think what's just going to happen is Indiana's defensive coordinator, Brian Hayes, he's just going to have to put a little extra help over the top on those 3rd and long situations, because Beatty is primarily their go-to guy when it comes to Illinois' offensive pass situations. He has over 250 yards, and the next guy is less than 100. He is their go-to guy. So I think if it gets to be 3rd and long, they're going to have to come up with some stops there, I think, to potentially end this thing a little earlier. But I'm just like Illinois in this spot. I think you're getting a veteran quarterback in this spot, but Signetti over there, he's been known to kind of just piss people off and go in there and do some things that just shock some people. So I wouldn't be surprised if the Hoosiers can go in there and do their thing.
What a great way to finish that breakdown, because I'll get to it at the end, but I'll start with Illinois.
Wait,
go ahead.
This game's in Bloomington.
Is it?
Correct.
Yes.
Correct.
Yes. Wait, no.
Correct.
All right, flip that around.
Yes.
Good
Correct.
double check there. Flip
It's
that
in
around.
Bloomington.
1:30 a.m. last night was making these. Sorry. That's on me. That doesn't happen usually. Good
We're
call
good.
out.
We're human.
Going back to Illinois.
No, you could say Illinois at Indiana. Go right to left there.
There you go.
Yeah. Read
Technically.
Yeah,
Technically.
Just develop dyslexia really quick.
This way, man.
and you got it. But Illinois this year, I think going on the road to Duke was obviously a good baseline for this game, or at least a better opponent to face to get you more prepared for a situation like this. Because Indiana, again, has had the schedule that they kind of had last year to kick things off, where everybody really didn't know if they were going to be any good or not because they had played nobody, but they have still been absolutely drubbing teams. Anybody on their schedule so far, they have just looked just schematically beautiful on offense, putting up 70 points, not giving up any on the other side. They played bad opponents. And I think just that one time, even though Duke's kind of proved the last couple of weeks that maybe they're not any good, Illinois being in a road environment, which they will be again, another clarification, it gives them the advantage. And I've seen Brett Bielema scheme things and game plan Illinois to a win. They did it in Lincoln last year, and it was just a dogfight of a game. And going back to Reese's point and why I'm excited the way he finished his preview is, I don't know, I kind of fight with myself internally of whether or not I ever want this to be a show where we can host coaches and have interviews of like that caliber, but I fucking hate Kirk Signetti, and I'll say it right to your face. I don't like the guy. I don't want to talk to him. And yeah, sure, I'm sure the drubbing they put on us last year didn't help, but even in the offseason and in Big Ten media days, just listening to him talk makes me go irate. I don't fucking like the guy, and I hope Illinois just rolls this team because I want to see him fall. And
no bias on this show whatsoever.
Going picks early.
Unbiased takes. Unbiased takes
picks early.
It's starting to. Yeah, I don't know. It's just something about
like,
just
comment,
rubs
subscribe.
me the wrong way.
Next guy.
What's he done recently? I haven't heard him in a while.
But just go back. Just listen to his Big Ten media days from this year. He answers questions like whoever's asking it is just a stupid fucking moron for asking anything bad that could be wrong with Indiana's team.
You know what?
He's like, well, I've won.
You're spoiled.
Dad won.
That's what you are. You're spoiled.
Look it up. Yeah, it's absolutely just atrocious to watch. And any chance that a team
doesn't help.
It doesn't help. No, I said that. It's a part of it for sure. But even outside of that, you saw what he did with Ohio State going into that game, and Will Howard's putting out the cigarette. That was great. I hope it happens again, and I think Bielema can lead this team, and I think they have the advantage in the trenches, to be honest with you. So I like Illinois up front to control this game and win it on the road. JP.
Yeah, I think there's a real situation here where Illinois and the defense can find a way to kind of slow any form of a run game out of Indiana. There are bodies along the offensive defensive line for Indiana that have looked better and better. But I think you like what Altmaier's done and what they've done in the run game and how they've kind of found a way to replace a couple of really good receivers and continue to move the football on good defenses. And if Indiana wants to bring some blitz, we know Altmaier's statistically, like in his career, hasn't been great against it. He's pretty darn good against Duke. Duke couldn't really figure him out. And as time went on, but Indiana's going to get theirs and score some points on the other end. I think there's too good of a receiver situation. Mendoza's got the arm to kind of make some plays. They're at home. It's going to be really tough. If Illinois gets out to a slow start, that's their opportunity to kind of get up and try and control a game if you're Indiana. You can't play from behind or trying to catch momentum. Try and keep the momentum on your side the entire time without any of that flipping and really making Illinois feel like they got a shot or staying in this one. 3.5. I think it's 3.5 or 4.5. It's kind of gone up and down. Like, I'm not going to say it's not a hard environment to play in, but it's not an environment that I'd be like, oh my God, like this, here we go again, right? We got to walk into this ruckus place. It's going to be tough, but we'll see.
Jake.
For all the previews we've done from week 0 till up till now, I think I am the most lost as far as what's going to happen with this one out of any game we've previewed so far this season. I just don't feel like I have any idea what to expect. And it's just so funny looking at these rosters. It just feels so similar. Like, let's go receivers. For Beatty at Illinois, you have Elijah Surratt. You have Mendoza in Indiana. You have Altmaier in Illinois. You have Fegan at running back for Illinois. You got the kid from Roman Hemby for Indiana. Defensively, yeah, you got your D'Angelo Pons and Xavier Scott. You have then Dylan Rosiak and Aiden Fisher for Indiana. Like, just so similar between both of these teams. I actually have not been this excited for a Big Ten game. You know me. They call me Big Ten Jake. I haven't been this excited for a Big Ten game in quite some time. I love my Big Ten football so much. It's very intriguing all the time. So I really think this one's actually going to be a ton of fun on Saturday night. And Maggie agrees with me. Maggie agrees. She's giving my
Maggie move.
She says this is going to be easily the best Big Ten game on Saturday. Not even close.
No, she's fast forwarding us into picks. And let me lead it off since my dog wants to scream. The dogs are barking, baby.
Barking.
Give me Illinois, the underdog on the road. I like him to cover the number, win outright. I do want to issue a formal apology, like not TV, like Nick Castellanos is going to hit a home run during it, but I try and avoid F words or F bombs in these shows as much as possible, making children kid friendly. I did not, and I cannot when I talk about Kirk Cinetti. So give me the Fighting Illini, Brett Bielema. Jake.
I guess I'm just going to take all the favorites in our marquee matchups this weekend because I'm going to lay it again, and I'm going to take Indiana. So I think this team's legit. I think I touched on it a couple weeks ago. I do think this team is one of the best in the Big Ten, and maybe I'll be wrong.
JP.
Oh,
on mute. It's all right. Reese, you first, and we'll go back to JP.
Week 3. It's okay, buddy. So, no, I think JP and Chafe had great points. You don't know what to expect this game. So, if I don't know what to expect, I'm going to take the plus points. And then also, JP's like, this isn't a scary place to play. Yeah, the town is literally called Bloomington. That's not it's not Death Valley. What scares you about Bloomington, Indiana?
Not called Death Valley.
Well, no, that's what I'm comparing it. I'm comparing. It's not scary, JP. Do you get my point?
Death Valley,
It's not scary. Like it's not.
What is
like a Death Valley? It's called
Memorial Stadium,
Bloomington, Indiana.
I've heard all Memorial Stadiums are not tough to play in. That's what I've heard.
They're not.
I think we should double check Iowa State.
You're gonna get fired up again. We're going to my pick. We're going to my pick. Here we go, Illinois.
All right, Illinois, 2 on Illinois. Final pick coming from JP off mute. Who you got? Splitting it 2 and 2 or riding 3 and 1 again?
Over a field goal, I'll take plus points. I'll take Illinois.
Here we go again. Jesus. All right.
Lonely
Buckle up, gentlemen. The boys are back together this weekend, and Jake has the opportunity to be just an absolute menace. So I love it. We'll take it.
The day that happens, I will be stunned. Illinois, 3 on Illinois, 1 on Indiana for that matchup. Let's put up the last comment I saw pop in. Let's go quick recap of our picks so far. We have covered Texas Tech and Utah. We had a unanimous pick on the Utes. Auburn and Oklahoma follow that one. I believe we had a 3-1 split, 3 on Oklahoma, 1 on Auburn. Nebraska, Michigan was the next one we covered, 3 on the Huskers, 1 on Michigan, and that one was Jake. And then to follow that one up, another Big Ten battle, Jake on a lonely island with Indiana at home, covering the number against Illinois. So 3-1 on majority, and the combo pick, the entire board picked Utah at home against Texas Tech. With that, let's go into the last preview of tonight's show in depthly. Let's go to the G5, gentlemen. That's what we cover here. We do that. That's our separator. Let's talk G5 football, and let's talk the damn North Texas Mean Green off to a 3-0 start, headed on the road to Michi. Is it Michi? Mikey. Thank you. Mikey Stadium. Take on Army.
Mikey. Please don't have the troops come after us.
One of the most skewed records in college football, standing at 1-1. They already had a bye, lost to Tarleton State, and beat K-State. We got some question marks here on the Army side of things. But North Texas has been rolling 59-10 over Wazoo last weekend in Denton, Texas. Where do you see this matchup? Let's go to Jake first.
Yeah, I will. I'm going to put the narrative to bed. Don't let the casuals tell you this is a bad Army team, because there's been talks about it, and Tarleton State might be the best team in the FCS. So they beat them in overtime, a little bit of a fluke, really good team.
Double overtime.
Double overtime. Thank you. New quarterback, trying to learn this. I know Coleman had played a little bit, but that was his first real start as being the guy. So let's put that narrative to bed. This is going to be an Army team that is, to be honest with you, dominated North Texas the last couple of years. And this North Texas team looks really, really good. I'll give them their flowers. This new revitalized Sam Houston look defense has been absolutely legit. Shane Whittier won AAC Player of the Week last week at linebacker. He looks to be really good for this North Texas defense. They announced this week, I think it's Cale Halams. Cale Halams is the new quarterback for Army this week. He's going to get the start again after starting in the K-State game after Coleman got banged up a little bit. Fellas, he carried the ball 41 times, Bryson Daly style, against Kansas State. Expect the same thing with Halams on Saturday. He's going to get it a ton. I think this one comes down to staying on the field. Kansas State got the ball just three times in the second half against this Army team. Army is 7 for 9 on fourth down conversions this year, and they're rushing at 250 yards a clip. We know North Texas' offense likes to go, 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 and it looks just the same and just as successful this year. But there's a reason why playing these service academies, and particularly Army, is just a really tough task and a bad matchup for North Texas. So it's going to be fascinating.
You said it perfectly at the end. That's why these games have been so bad in the past for North Texas. It's a matchup nightmare. It's a team that wants to keep your offense off the field, and you're a North Texas team that just wants their offense to always be on the field and score in one play. So it just doesn't even up. However, I think North Texas finally has the ability to get Army off the field, which they have not been able to do the last few years. But I want to give the flowers to Drew Mestemaker. I mean, people forget the quarterback battle with Reese Poffenbarger, the backup to Cam Ward in the preseason. Mestemaker hasn't missed a stride, man. 66 for 94 in the year, 9 touchdowns, no picks, fitting in the scheme well. We've had the questions for North Texas early in the season if they could replace the production of DT Sheffield, who went to Rutgers. Looks like they've done that. I mean, 59 points against Wazoo, who was 2-0 at the time and could end up being bad like Oregon State, still is huge for your program. So I think with the confidence they come in, I like Eric Morris. I love his offensive schemes. I think they're going to understand the matchup a little bit better this year with the capabilities of their defense. And if you think I was picking anyone but the Mean Green, then you never watched the show before. JP, you already went.
All right.
Yeah, the difference between the North Texas teams of old and this one is pure physicality, body type, inability to tackle. Like, addressed all three pieces of that. I think Army just kind of found themselves in a weird spot with Tarleton. Like, weird mistakes, weird things happened. And so I don't live too much on or subscribe to like that just being like, oh, here comes Army again, kind of weird team. I was high on this Army team at the beginning of the year. I'm still high on them now. 2.5 is probably fair based on what you've seen out of North Texas on both sides of the football. Can you slow down the offense if you're Army? Can you match athlete for athlete defensively? Traditionally in this conference, they've had to do so. So I expect, Monken to have the ability to scheme some defense where they slow this team down. But I think they're going to get theirs. It's going to be one of those spots where the run game controls the clock, like Jake said. Maybe they don't want to go up and down like they have with teams in years past. Control the clock, probably get a punt or two. Like, you probably won't need North Texas to punt 4 times to win this, maybe a couple just based on possessions. And if North Texas can hold the ball and sustain drives, that spells even more trouble, I almost feel like, for Army. Like, you have to hit on every drive. I'll take Army here, though, because I was high on them in the preseason, and I'm not just going to jump off after one loss.
Reese.
Yeah, I think you touched on Parks, the Mestemaker kid. If he makes mistakes, and Schaefer talked about it too, where Army just keeps your offense off the field, if Mestemaker turns the ball over and Army can get the ball and just eat at that clock and not give North Texas chances to get big plays, then I think that's a recipe for success. They got to force him to go to his second, third reads, get out of the pocket, do some stuff he's not comfortable with doing. And then Army, you just got to take advantage of when you do have the ball. Like, you can't be getting field goals. You got to go for back breaks. You got to get touchdowns when you get in the red zone too. Like, that's the issue, is because North Texas, I have more faith in this North Texas offense to get touchdowns than this Army offense. I think right there. So if Army has the ball and you're going to go eat up 10 minutes of clock, it's got to end in 6. It can't end in 3, or it can end in turnover on down. So I think that's where the battle lies for this one for Army.
Yeah, I like that, because that was a point I wanted to make too, is Army's defense, in my opinion, has been better in the past than what we've seen at the start of this year. Double overtime, granted, you give up 30 to Tarleton State, but then even those 3 times Kansas State got the ball in the second half, one of them they scored on, And if you're going to even let them out 3 times if you're North Texas, they're probably going to score on 2 of them. That's just the kind of offense Eric Morris runs. So we'll see what happens in this matchup. Let's go to the pick side of it. 2.5 in favor of the Mean Green. Jake, who you got?
Win all favorites in our marquee matchups. We're going the opposite way. Give me the dog at home. Give me the team that's going to dominate the ground. Keep the ball away from this team. And this is a proven game for North Texas. Like, if North Texas is going to take the strides with Morris to being a legitimate American Conference title contender. Yeah, this is the one you win, man. Like, this is the prove it one for me. So until then, I'm going to back Jeff Monken.
One of the tougher games on the schedule, but come on, man. You know where I'm going. Give me the Mean Green, baby. Eric Morrison squad. Give me Meston-Baker, young, hungry, on the road, gonna pop off. Give me North Texas by a couple scores. Set the tone. JP.
Army. That's all you got, man.
The guy supports the troops. Can't get mad at him. Reese, big time pick here.
Go Army beat Navy. You think, where the hell else am I going to go? Go Army beat Navy.
Come on now. Come on now.
I'll be on the lonely island with the Mean Green. You'll always find me there.
By the way, last week, did anybody pick Southern Miss last week? Bad picks by us. I think we all were.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't get any follow-up comments on that game. But we maybe get to talk about Southern Miss here in a little bit, because it wraps up for previews. Shout out No Rivals, our preview sponsor, shopnorivals.com. Use the code PTFS at checkout for free shipping on your awesome new hats. That's week 4. Let's go to the betting segments of the show. Let's kick it off first with the Dawgs Dog, which, gentlemen, we like to give flowers to teams. How about we give flowers to ourselves once in a while? Because last week's bets, let's go through them. Reese, Georgia Tech plus the 3.5. That's a cover and a win. Myself, Tennessee plus the 3.5. Not a win, but boy, that field goal covers the number. JP, Utah State plus the 4.5 against Air Force. A cover and a win. And then Jake, South Alabama plus 28.5. A little greasier, but you still cover the damn number. So that's 4-0 on the Dawgs Dog.
It was 24.5, but yeah, even better. I'll cover the same here.
Did you win the bet?
Good.
Yeah, of course I won the bet.
All right, 4-0. I'm not a mathematician, but that doesn't sound like we lost one to me, gentlemen. So let's go into this week. Who you got? Dawgs Dog, underdog of the week against the spread. Tell us the number, tell us the game, maybe a little bit why you feel that way. JP, you first.
There's 2 here I got.
Same.
And I'm kind of between 2 of them. I know I only get one of them.
I'm interested to see
all day.
Yeah, give me Delaware 6.5.
Delaware, good pick. Good pick.
Here's the
good pick.
The other one I'm touchy on, but I think that they're gonna it's just gonna end up being weird. Delaware's pretty darn good. I was high on them. I think they had a chance to get to that 6-win mark, even with the bowl ban being brand new to the FBS. FIU, I don't think it's as good as advertised. Like, I just think FAU has something they've got to figure out. Velcamp don't look great. And no, I'm saying FAU that played FIU at last. Sure. Sorry. So I'm not taking a lot out of that. I think this Delaware team, they made due to injury, a quarterback switch, and it's been good. So give me the 6.5.
Big win last week.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's a good UConn team. That's my thing. Is like, I think they're starting to feel a little more confident in themselves.
All right, Jake, he took yours. So give us your second pick.
No, that wasn't actually. That was one of those I was leaning, but I like that pick. Can I have you 2 go first, just in case? Because I have 2 as well.
I'll go first. No farting around with mine. Talked about Southern Miss and how they proved us wrong last week. I'm sorry. Plus 3.5 at La Tech. I think that number is where it is because of the way La Tech completed on the road against LSU. But I think Southern Miss offense showed us what they can do, and the defense really limited a really good App State passing game last week. So I don't know if La Tech's going to score above 10 points in this matchup. But I really like Southern Miss as a dog. Feels like a trap line, but you're not going to fool me, handicappers. Give me the Golden Eagles on the road in Ruston. Reese.
I think I like this one just because this team's been in 2 high-scoring games already. So I think you're going to keep it within a touchdown anyway. How about SMU plus the 7 going to Fort Worth? The over-under is already at 64.5. So they're still going to be a bunch of points in this game they expect. So I expect there to be a bunch of points. I think SMU can keep that within the number, and they might be able to go in there and get a win.
Okay.
That's a great rivalry. We just didn't get to talk about SMU TCU this week, and that's a fun rivalry.
That's why I tried to
that game,
scale it, correct?
You got to have some fireworks coming in that matchup. Jake, time for your Dawgs Dog. You held it. Better be damn good.
You guys got your nose plugs again this week. Yeah, I'm gonna take the Boilermakers plus 26.5 on the road at Notre Dame. Now, you may ask, Jake,
didn't you? I can see this.
Jake,
I thought about this.
Weren't you the one to take them plus, was it 9 points last year when they lost at home 70-0 to Notre Dame after they lost to Northern Illinois? And yes, haters, you would be correct. You'd be very much correct there. I think this is a much different Purdue team. I think this is a team that plays within the number, and I don't know if Vegas is fully caught up on them yet. I think the Notre Dame defense is still it's still night and day difference. Like Chris Ash is still figuring this thing out between last year. Like that Notre Dame defense we knew was still good last year after they lost to Northern Illinois. I don't know about it this year. I think Maggie agrees. Maggie agrees too, because the dogs will be barking in this one. This is a team that gave up a pick 6 to a 325-pound defensive tackle last week and still covered against USC. I think this is it's not a good team, but it's such a much more improved team than it was a year ago. And this is still a little bit of a rivalry game.
I'll never, ever hate on a little Barry Odom belief. People forget how I felt about the Boilermakers. So just cover the number,
Notre Dame was 2-0, I would love this pick. If Notre Dame was 2-0, I'd love this because this is the spot where they slip up.
All right. That is the Dog's Dog. All 4 picks are out there. We'll get a graphic out to remind you probably tomorrow. But that was a clean sweep from the boys last week on win. So let's hope we can repeat it this week with those picks. Let's go to the best bets to finalize tonight's show. Boys, best bets, a lot of bets out there, a lot of smaller numbers compared to weeks past with the non-con slates, with conference play kicking off. Where do you feel the bets lie? What should people take? Your best bet of week 4? JP, you're up.
I'm going down with the ship here. Had them in my Sun Belt title game.
Stop.
Fan base, yeah, their fan base is kind of a little on fire. They kind of want the Zormo out. They think it's an effort piece, but we have to beat Eastern Michigan on the road.
That was my pick.
Minus 2.5. We have to have this. I'm not fooled by the number. There's something up down there
JP
with the Cajuns. We have to have this one.
Let him talk. Okay, here we go.
For all the same reasons. I was just going to say, it's time for sicko mode. Let's go.
Yeah.
Little cover 3 Bud Elliott special. Yeah.
Sorry, picks taken. Forrest Gump, picks taken.
All right, then go ahead. You two go. No, I got to find another one.
You got to find a backup pick. A lot of confidence rolling out.
I was not prepared somebody to lay it with Louisiana on the road in Ypsilanti. I'm sorry. I was not
sure. I'll go the way Reese has this one. I talked about the smaller lines this week with conference play kicking off. Give me a big one. Give me Vandy minus the 26.5 against what seems to be a bad Georgia State team. TJ Finley has not been able to figure it out. 3 picks already on the year. Give me Vandy, which feels like maybe possibly your only other argument would be it's a hangover spot after the South Carolina game. Hell no. Diego Pavia just doesn't play that way, and I don't think Clark Lee is going to allow it with what he's trying to build that program into. So I like him to win by, at minimum, 4 scores at home against Georgia State this weekend. Reese.
We touched on this game already, this preview, but I think you can kind of hint at where I'm going with this. I think Oklahoma is just going to handle Auburn this game. I think that Auburn is not going to score more than 10 points. I think Auburn's going to make it sluggish, and they're going to try to make it ugly. They're not going to score more than 20. If they do, then I'm dead wrong about this team. But I think Oklahoma's defense is way too good right now. I think Oklahoma handles this one. They're going to win by 2 scores.
Wow. All right, Jake, you find another one for us? You left us for a second. I thought you found the best pick on the board.
I did. I did find this one. I forgot how much I love this one. I was gonna pull my old former Coach Corso on the old podcast.
We're gonna put on the Kemper Catholic helmet. Oh yeah. I thought you were going here in the first place.
Shop No Rivals. Use the code PTFS at checkout. Notice how this is upside down. Rams. Yeah. Forget about it. Give me the Road Runners. Minus 4.5. Are you kidding me? Colorado State is terrible. They are terrible. And I think this UTSA team can absolutely flat out score. They have the much better quarterback in McCown. And I think John Emery has been really, really good for them, revitalizing his career. One of the cooler stories in college football, if you haven't been paying attention. Colorado State's absolutely horrendous. And they gave up a ton to Washington. And I think Washington's really good, but I think that defense is bad. And I don't know what they could do on offense right now. So this just feels like Colorado State's going to find, 5 or 6 wins against the poor Mountain West team, or I guess in the Mountain West Conference, but not against a good American team. We just talked about how good the American is in the G5, and that stands true on the road in Fort Collins this weekend.
Somebody rolled a flashback of the Play the Fights on College Football show previewing Colorado State going into last year with Fowler Nicolosi and Horton returning. And like, we were like, man, this team, they could win the Mountain West. And boy, has that narrative changed, but the quarterback hasn't. They've just played significantly that bad. I thought you were going to take that pick off the rip. I knew exactly where you were going as soon as you lifted the hat. I could just see the colors. I mean, they are bad. So I like that pick. There's the 4 best bets of the weekend. That is the entire week 4 preview. We appreciate you joining us. Make sure you follow us on all platforms at Play the Fight Pod. GA will get you a free No Rivals cap. Shop No Rivals, by the way. Code PTFS for free shipping. Shop FrostBuddy, frostbuddy.com/PTFS. Get your universal can cooler. We'll see you next week. We love you. The boys will be together. Maybe a few photos this weekend of the full crew.
Bachelor party, boys.
Another show. Shout out JP. Shout out Marriage. Shout out Love. Love you all. See you next time. Jake, take it away.
Congratulations, Jordan. Let's play it.